Hey everyone, Kim here with Abundant Life Tarot. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I wanted to share with you some of the things that I have been really loving in the month of August. And I used to do these monthly favorite videos religiously, and I petered out like this year or even late last year, but I want to return to them. So I'm going to share with you some of the decks that I incorporated in my reading practice this past month and why they made the short list of the decks to discuss. Plus, just maybe a couple of little things that I was feeling in the month of August. And stay tuned to the very end. I'm going to take you on a little joyride from my home to the supermarket where we shop at. So that'll be a part of the video towards the end. All right, let's get started. So in no particular order, we're going to just dive right into Oracle decks. Let me just get started here. So the deck I want to first talk to you about is a deck that I created. It is the Conception and Fertility Oracle. I have been using these cards, yes, in conception and fertility type of readings, but I was pleasantly surprised that this deck works in many other types of readings. Even one of my Ko-fi members in my group, my Moon Dancer Rebel Soul group that I have on Ko-fi, she was like, she challenged me to incorporate using this deck for some various readings that we were doing. I think it might have been in the Facebook group. May have been in the Facebook group during the Everyday Enchantment Tarot study. She was like, use this deck and incorporate it with the reading that I was doing. And I did, and it surprised me. And then I had some clients this past month. I love the backs, by the way. I had a client this month saying, you know, she just wants to know about her future. Not so much how to have a baby or any of that. Just like, will more kids be in her future? Is there anything that Spirit wants to share about that? And this deck delivered in that scenario. You know how folks will generally ask about the future, like, will I start a family? What's in the cards for me? This deck also delivered in that scenario. But in general readings, I was very surprised that it worked. I mean, we have a welcome the new. Yeah, you could say relatively easy labor, but relatively easy labor could be something you have been birthing, a project, some sort of endeavor that you've got going on, a goal, and you are going to enter a phase of relative ease to accomplishing that goal. So self-care is needed. And it's 110 cards. I sell them on Make Playing cards. It even has timing. You can barely see the years. October is of importance. I really like this deck a lot. I started pulling it more and more, using it in all sorts of readings, and it just surprised me. And so I'm thankful to my member, Andy, for mentioning to use this deck more often in my practice. Family changes. Feminine energy. Oh my God. I love babies. I'm a sucker for babies. And heavenly signs. Okay, so that was a deck that I was loving. And it's a deck that I created, and it's on Make Playing cards. What do you think about the backs, though? With a little sperm swimming towards the ovum. Too provocative? I don't know. I love it. I love the color scheme. So, okay, let me share with you the next Oracle deck. Let me look at my list. All right. Okay, this one is mass market. It is the Quantum, let me get the glare off, the Quantum Oracle by Sandra Ann Taylor. She also has created, let me show you. This is where I store my decks. She created the Energy Oracle cards. This is produced by Hay House. She's created actually a number of popular decks. So check out her, decks that she has and see which one suits you. These both suit me quite well. All-rounder, wonderful decks. I usually use this particular deck right off the top of my head that I think of. It's New Year's readings for myself and for clients. So I use this one. But I use this one strangely throughout the year, and I hardly ever talk about it. It is readily available. So if you were in the market for a mass market Hay House deck, this is one I do recommend. Sandra Ann Taylor is known for her thick, chunky guidebooks. I mean, let me show you the energy. I'm not talking about the Energy Oracle this month, but I just want to show you, like, look at this. Look how chunky. Look how chunky these books are. And she does reversals for her oracle cards, so she has an upright and reverse meaning for her oracle cards as well. But let me show you why this oracle made the short list. 1 second as I put all of these back together, kind of keeping the desk clear as possible. So here's the backs. I haven't edged it or anything fancy, but it is broken up. You see this area here where it says events? She has different categories in her guidebook for this deck. So she has one section, the consciousness suit, the energy suit, the intention suit, the people suit, the events suit, the spirit suit, and the cycles suit. So she has that. And so it adds extra depth to the reading because it's, a card in a particular suit. So in that suit's meaning, which you can find in the guidebook, it's an additional layer to the actual card meaning. So we've got commitment under events, right? Deception under events. I find I can use this deck in career readings, interpersonal readings, romance readings, all sorts of readings. It's very universal. Family, friends, and guides, spirit. That's the suit, spirit. Great gratitude is consciousness suit. So I always like to mention that I do link in the description box full unboxings if I have them for particular decks, so you can get a full flip through and watch it. We have Kindred Partnership under the People suit. So I'll be sure to add that. Intention, the honoring path. Dark thoughts, part of the consciousness suit. I like this one, intention, back and forth. It's a balanced deck too, if you're curious. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description box of the unboxing. Events suit, conflict. So yeah, I really was digging this deck. I'm going to show you 2 more cards. These 2 cards did come up in a client's reading, so that's why they're probably even stuck together here. The energy suit, letting go. And the consciousness suit, consciousness of lack. Okay. We'll stop there. So that's the Quantum Oracle. That's the Quantum Oracle. And I'm really, really enjoying it. I have been ever since I added it to my collection. All right, so let's move on to one more oracle that I want to talk about, and it's actually on time. It's on time. It is the Dreamer's Journey Oracle. It's by Soul's Trees. It's a major arcana oracle. So you've got all the majors depicted in this deck, but then there's also additional cards. Now, This deck is near and dear to me because it was, I think, the very first deck flip through, or actually very first video I ever did on my channel way back when I first started my channel. So this deck has been with me from the start, at least from the YouTube video or YouTube channel journey. So let me just show you. I've been using this deck nonstop in July. It was interesting to me how all of a sudden I just need to use it all the time. And I've just been using it not in professional readings for myself. I used to exclusively use this deck for just readings for myself and put them in my little altar space when I lived in Sacramento, California. But now that I live abroad, my spiritual practice is still kind of trying to find itself, and I'm working through that process. And I haven't really been called to use it like I did when I was in Sacramento, whereas here I'm more inclined to use it in client readings, whereas there I was more inclined to use it for myself. Upheaval is actually the Tower. Oh, look. They call us gringo. We're gringos. Hopefully my husband hears it. Purposeful action is the Chariot. And look, there's even a key phrase here. A strong will. Prepare for the challenge of going after what you want. Successfully managing a situation. Assertiveness, success, and conflict. So I was hoping my husband would get the door. Why? The wise woman is the Hierophant. Here's the card backs. Anyone who's watched my channel for a while knows that I am very much into tarot size oracle decks. Oh my gosh. Oh, he left. Oh well. He should have knocked on the door. I'm recording a video and I'm not gonna stop recording it just because somebody's at my door or at my outside calling for my husband, calling him gringo. Sorry. All right, so you see how it just overhand shuffles. So this is a special deck to me. I think now, look at this. This is the Hanged Man, Calm Surrender. I think now this deck is like a larger size. It's not this little tiny tarot size, which I prefer. So just know that if you're in the market for the deck, that is probably, and this might be your preference, it is on a larger card size. So just know that. And I don't know if it's for sale or not, the Sun. But if you want to see when I first started out on YouTube, it's not pretty, but if you want to see it and you want to know more about this amazing deck, I'll just read it, one of the cards. Check it out. I'll put the link in the description, and it's on point because the anniversary of my channel, my 5-year anniversary, is in August, and so, August is the month that I created the channel. So we have the Sun, great joy and success, abundance, true joy of life, looking at the world in a new way, attainment of happiness, epiphanies, good health, light-filled. This is your traditional Sun. And then she has like additional cards like exploration with its key meaning and stagnation. I love trees. Absolutely just adore images of trees. You know, some people just absolutely go gaga over animal decks. I go gaga over tree decks. All right. We're going to pause here because I'm going to now get ready to discuss tarot decks with you, the ones that I want to share with you. Goodness, I have one more oracle deck to share with you. It is the Healers of the Earth Oracle. It came in this box. Where did I put the guidebook? Guidebook is chunky, actually. Oh, there it is. That's up here. So here's the guidebook. It's very chunky. There's reverse meanings. There's key phrases. You get a lot with this deck. I pulled this one off later in the month, and I was called to use it because a client wanted to just have a general well-being type of reading, not like diagnosis, but just how to maintain good health and wellness. And so I was like, well, what deck do I have that could speak to these things? You know, both mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. What deck is that? Well, for me, it turned out to be the Healers of the Earth Oracle. So it's an amazing deck. I'll be sure to link the flip through of this deck in the description box. Maybe I might even have other videos, like where I had it in favorites videos that I could share with you. I don't know. Just search a deck you like in my search box on YouTube, on my channel, and you might be surprised. I may have some videos discussing it. I'm usually pretty good about tagging them. So we have radiotoxic, toxic environment, emotional vampires. On the backs, there's guidance here. There is personal, emotional. So there's the whole suits on the backs. Let me see if there's industry and technology, spiritual hygiene, purification and release, collective physical. Okay. All right. So those are the suits. So just like similar to the quantum oracle that I mentioned earlier, there are suits, and they are on the backs here. They blend in beautifully with the wording. You can barely see it. And mine's is gilded in silver, and I have borders, and it's glossy, but they've held up really, really well. I know that the newer editions that have come out with this deck are borderless. Mine's is not. And I also know they may not, I don't know if it has gilding. Actually, I don't know that. But I'm not going to go chasing after a deck because it's borderless and it has a nice gilding or not. I'm just not. I'm going to love on the deck. Now, with that being said, I did order a poker-sized edition of the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle Blood Red edition. I did order that in August, late August, and I got it on sale half off, and it's got all the cards. I love Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. I'm still going to use the little one, but I'm also going to use the blood red one, probably more so for my mystery mystic readings. And then my little one will be just used for like client readings, because I actually have people who want readings from that deck, believe it or not. They don't want a tarot deck. I mean, maybe they do, but they specifically book my Mildred Payne's reading. Forest of Fire, passion, aliveness, flashes of inspiration. I really like this deck. It's got this whimsy aesthetic, fantasy aesthetic, and I appreciate that because sometimes I have a challenge kind of resonating with these types of decks, like this artistic style, but this one works for me because of the keywords and the images themselves. Time to fly south, travel, vacation, getting away a bit. Definitely check out the video I recorded. Withdrawal symptoms, yearning, craving, pain over loss. And I'll link it in the description box. Dashing through the snow, minor setbacks, delays, roadblocks. Spiritual alignment, serving the greater good, focused on spirit. So I'll stop there because you can see a full flip through of this deck that I'll add to the description box. Let me see if there's any other cards that I need to show you that I like. I love the Feng Shui butterfly. Change, renewal, releasing obstructions. There's actually quite a few cards I really love in this deck. So I've been keeping it on my reading table, which means that sometimes I'm called to use it in professional readings. All right, now we're going to move on to tarot. So we're back. So we're talking tarot, right? Let's talk tarot. Let's talk tarot. Now, the first one I want to talk to you all about is the Herb Crafters Tarot. Oh my God. U.S. Games. I have to tell you all, I am so impressed with this deck. I really am. It takes me outside of my comfort zone, and I really adore it. In fact, so much so that I'm hoping to revisit in my Facebook group where we study our tarot decks. We're doing tarot study revisits in September and October. And I asked, I said, out of all the 5 decks that we've done a tarot study on, which one would you like to revisit? So far, this is one of the decks that are the top contenders, and I'm excited about it because I really want to deepen my connection with this deck. Here's the card backs. Oh my goodness. Here's the star, cottonwood. Let me show you the guidebook. Where's the guidebook? Here's the guidebook. Excellent guidebook. This is why I chose it for one of my tarot studies. And I will link the playlist that I have for this deck. I have a whole playlist for it because I did my very first tarot study or deep dive into this deck and publish it on the channel. So I'll put the playlist so you can see all of the ways that I used it. You know what? One way that I used it that I appreciated the messages and it helped me tremendously was I did a friendship tested spread. I created this friendship tested spread. I was having a challenge with one of my near and dearest friends that I've known for a very long time, but I'm changing. She's who she is. I'm evolving to who I am. And I just didn't know if we had what it takes to sustain all of these changes that I'm going through, that maybe she's going through. And the guidance in that spread, and I put that video in the playlist, was profound. And she and I are in a much better place. And I'm so grateful for the guidance that I gleaned from that reading, to not just give up and throw away the friendship, just see where it goes. And now next year we're going to Aruba to celebrate her 50th birthday. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Justice. That's Ace of Air, Yarrow. So I'm really hoping this one wins in terms of the deck tarot study in our Facebook group, Abundant Life Tarot group. I hope it wins. So we can delve into this deck a bit more. But if it doesn't, I'm still using it. It feels so right to me. I'm normally very traditional when it comes to really wanting a Rider-Waite-Smith deck for my tarot deck that I'm using. I just realized that I'm kind of picky about that. And this one takes me out of my comfort zone, and I appreciate it. That's the Herb Crafters Tarot. All right, so let's move on to the next deck, which coincidentally also, it's not really coincidental, but it is the Hoodoo Tarot. Okay, this one is also one of my most popular tarot studies that we did in the Facebook group and on the channel. It just is. I keep it in this bag because I'm always pulling it out. I love this little cover for it. Here's the box. It's a really nice deck. It's another really great deck set if you're in the market for a tarot deck. I adore this deck. I'm getting back into certain spiritual practices that I'm picking back up on ever since moving out here and getting ready to build out a little small section in the office for my spiritual practice, my altar, and I consult this deck every step of the way. Okay, it is one that is also on the list of ones that people can vote on if they want this deck to be the one that we do a revisit on. Here's Eight of Baskets, which is traditionally Eight of Cups. Let's see, I love the Big House, which is traditionally the Tower. I will also put I'll put maybe the unboxing. I'll put a video that I think really shows a full flip through of this deck. But I have tons of videos on this deck in the tarot study playlist on my channel because I did this. This was one of the decks we used for our tarot study. Here's the Free Man, the Fool. And people are still joining the Facebook group to work on the tarot study in the Facebook group on this deck. So I was like, I want to revisit this. So we'll see. This is one of the top contenders. So as a result of it, I started, as a result of asking people which decks would they revisit, I started revisiting them, on the side, readings for myself, and was pleasantly surprised that I'm very much still in love with these decks. Daughter of Baskets. This is near and dear to me. Like the Son of Knives. This is a church that is just like down the way from my grandmother's house in the woods. It really just gives me this nostalgia vibe that I appreciate so much. So much. All right, let's move on because I'm trying to be mindful of the time on the video. Let's see. Oh, we just have one more deck to talk about, and I want to talk about this one because I had a feeling I was gonna really like it, but you never know. This is Frank's Pinter Tarot. Slow Scarabeo. And I love this deck. I use it in all sorts of readings, but lately it's been not lately. Sometimes it's just reading for myself. I'll do readings for myself. Here's the card backs. But oftentimes I'm doing readings for Mystery Mystic series, and I'll be called to use this deck. And every now and then a client reading. Strength. I'll definitely link in the description box the full flip through. Here's Eight of Wands, because I know I did an unboxing of this deck or a walkthrough. Queen of Swords. Yes. Here is Three of Swords. I don't know why the artwork just moves me. It's just so evocative, and it's really unexpected, and to me such a treat to have this in a mass market deck. As you all know, I have quite a collection of indie decks, and those, I love indie decks, but every now and then there's a proper mass market deck that comes around, and it just blows you away. Does anyone have this deck? And if you do, what are your thoughts about it? Did it underwhelm you? Did it overwhelm you? Did you love it? Let me know of all, of any of the decks I talked about. Do you have them? Do you work with them? Do you want to work with them? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Here's Ace of Wands. Let me show you some of my favorites. Here's the Devil. Let me see. Five of Cups. So, yeah, that's it. I'm going to show you. You can definitely watch Ace of Cups. Watch the full flip through to get a feel of what all the cards look like in the deck. As I want to share with you a couple more bits that I was loving in August 2022. So, a couple of more things to share with you about August. I've been wearing my hair in a bun. These headscarves that I've had for decades, have come in handy. So these have been my favorite. Just pulling my hair up, having some option to have my scalp exposed with my part, and just wearing a bun off, hair off the shoulders so I can stay cool. That's been working out for me. That's been working out for me, especially since I had a cold in July, a head cold, a summer head cold, which is not really pleasant, and I'm really feeling good today, so I'm excited about that. So let me show you some other things that I was loving. So I love incense. Most of us who are in the woo-woo world, we are into like the smells. We want all the good smells. And so I had received packages from Queen Asset. She is like the fairy deck and magical godmother, because she sent a couple of care packages to me, and they included decks for sure. You'll be seeing more unboxings in the very near future, but also all these incense. My gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And I already had like a little stash of my favorite incense from the United States. This is Pear Vanilla by Wild Cherry. Like, I only really buy this from them, like, or just incense period, because the incense is the smell is so strong, right? So I just order it from like their website or Amazon. What else do I have in here? My sister, I have all sorts of tools. I have sage in here. This is my smell good bag, and I just keep it sealed, keep weird little bugs and things out of it. But Queen Asset has sent me this scent, which I burned like quite a few of these already. I had to slow down. 36 cents or sticks. This is Aloha Bay, and the chakra incense is Abundance, and yeah, it smells so good. It smells so freaking good. And then I'm not going to go through all these amazing scents that she sent, but I'm going to tell you the one that I instantly ran to like package and start burning right away. It's the patchouli incense, and it's Singapore patchouli, and this is by Arushika Arga Bathies, I believe that's how you say it. An Indian incense here. I love the fragrance of patchouli. I always have, even as a kid, and probably always will. Like, patchouli just makes my everything happy. My nose, everything. So she had all these different scents, which I've started, exploring and expanding my reach in terms of what my nose is going to smell. But I'm not going to lie. The moment I saw patchouli, I just started, these are the ones. I just started instantly burning these. So thank you, Queen Asset, for your generous gift. It was, you all, I don't get a lot of decks coming out this way, because I'm a nervous Nelly. So I've been really careful about what decks I order, because I would be heartbroken if they get lost. And I live on an island. They're pretty good about sending stuff. I was able to get her packages perfectly, and they came right on time. It was like, I rarely order stuff for myself anymore. I've actually really scaled down my life. It's really become really simplified. And so it makes receiving gifts like this so special, because wow, it was just so touching that she sent it. It's like from one deck lover, and the essences and the incense lover and crystals lover, and she sent me this care package that only another person that's similar, that are into the similar things like me could send. And it's even more special than many gifts that I've ever received in my life. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I am in incense heaven. I have enough to, as long as I pace myself, I have enough to last me a good, year. I think at least a year. At least a year. Maybe more. We'll see. We'll count down. And then last but not least, I'm not even talking about crystals this month, because all my crystals help me. I have quite the collection of crystals, but there's not one to particularly call out. Sorry, I didn't even think about that for this video. That's okay. Because maybe one day I'll do a new tour of the crystals that made their way from the United States to the Dominican Republic when I moved here, and ones that are, some of my peeps have gifted me crystals, and there's been a couple like my husband bought me that is native or indigenous to here. I don't know. So I'll have to do a separate video one of these days on my crystal collection. This, I keep all of my reading cloths in this bag. So it kind of has, it's breathable. It's like those travel sorters that you put in your suitcase to separate all your clothes. I do use these, by the way, when I'm traveling. But I also ordered them specifically for the purpose of tarot-related stuff. Like, for example, so I have this for my reading cloths that go on my table. And then I have this one for all my tarot bags, spare tarot bags, that if I feel like it's more appropriate for a deck to have a bag, I just come in here and see what I've got in the bag. See what I got. Don't need to just go around ordering new bags when I've got them here. However, I kind of miss my hard wooden, my exposed table for my readings that I do. And so I'm kind of going back and forth on, do I like reading cloths like I did in Sacramento, or do I really just like the bare bones exposed reading table, you know, for my cards? I haven't decided. I actually like both. It's a nice change. So I have quite a few, why did I zip that back up? I have quite a few reading cloths that I may be experimenting with that you'll be seeing as I'm doing flip throughs. This is one of my favorites. It's like a woman's shawl that I fashioned into a reading tablecloth. I have this one that goes underneath. What I do is I keep these little silicone gel packs in between them to keep them, to help with the moisture situation. I have this one. I love that one. What else? I think that's it. I sold a lot, gave away some when I moved, when I started living abroad. So I only have a few reading tablecloths, but I used to have a massive collection. Now, not so much. And that's okay, because I actually am quite fond of just hardwood and the cards laying on top. All right, you all. So that's it. I'm going to just leave you all with a little video of a ride to town. Again, my life is very simple, living in the tropics, but I get a little excitement when it's time to go to the grocery store. So some of you have been curious about what is it like to be here. Eventually one day when I'm more comfortable in my space, I will share with you like the experiences. But that almost feels like a different channel. It doesn't feel like it belongs here. And so those will probably be up in my Ko-fi membership. If I do record those videos, I'll put those there because it is personal to me. I've never been someone who's taking you on tours of, you know, my town or this or that, because that's not what I was called to share with you all. But every now and then I need you to see what I'm going through, so when I'm like having difficult live streams, you can empathize. You can empathize. But you also could be like, wow, that's so cool, Kim. Look what you're doing. Look where you're at. You're in another part of the world. And it's quite beautiful. So we'll close out the video with just a little zip around town over, you know, with some music over it. And yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. Much love to all of you. Let me know what you've been loving on in August. Let me know if any of these decks are ones that were your favorites, or if you have questions. I love hearing from you as well. I love answering questions. And thank you all so much for subscribing. I really appreciate those who have come on board. The new folks, welcome. And also my ride or dies. I love y'all to pieces. And thank you for liking the video. It really, really does help me more than you know. More than you know. All right, guys, take very good care of yourselves. Let's watch my zip around town.
But it's agreed, like a pastor agreed. I think you
Like yeah. What do they call it? Like
no refund. What you
No, it says